This is a story about a boy called Dio and a father called Danny. Both miss each other so much, but are not allowed to see each other due to the decisions of the local council. It's a story about loss, a broken system, and a system that needs fixing. Danny, it's really nice to have you here in the studio. You have a story that is, in a way, extremely tragic, but also paints a picture of a system that in many ways needs to be enlightened. And the reason why we do this in English is because you're going to take your case and end up in the Human Rights Council, where it is going to be hopefully made and discussed. So, but I mean, just for starters, you have a long story of a social fight, in the sense that you've had a long story with your family. But after having this long journey of yours, you ended up being actually pretty okay, and then you got a son.
Yeah.
Your beloved Dio, right?
I see.
That you really liked and you loved so much. True.
Yeah, so much. Of course, it's my life, you know. So of course I love my boy.
Too much. And then but tragically, even though that you've had a long story of social, you had a difficult childhood, then you were in a situation where you actually took really good care of your son. But even though you took really good care of your son, he was taken away from you. Try to tell me a bit about that story, just precisely what was really going on at that time.
First of all, I want to interrupt a little, sorry, because today is the day of my daughter's birthday. And I have also a daughter that is 20 years old that's also reflecting the same story that is going to happen now. So back to the story. First of all, happy birthday, Jasmine. Then to my boy, Dio, He's becoming 4 years old in the next month, and 3 years ago the Danish government took him by mistake, or else I think it can be looked as dealing with children, because I have perfect papers. I sit with proof in the papers here about who I am, because of course I had a rough life, but when I look in the rear mirror, I see a very rough life because of the system I grew up in. I didn't fit into the box, so I didn't fit in anywhere, and because I didn't fit in anywhere, I'm not supposed to be, I don't know, a good citizen or a good, I don't know.
I mean, it's also, you had a rough childhood, right?
Yeah.
But you've been working very hard and actually, cleaning up your life, right?
Yeah.
And it's true, in the paper it says that you are actually pretty good. You're a good dad, right?
Yeah.
And it's and it's recommended that you actually keep your child. I mean, maybe we should just read it up, right?
So that let's do that.
So that viewers can actually hear for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So this is in Danish, but I'll translate. Generally, seeing what Dan did was that he had a lot of nice conversations with Dio. Danny really prioritized only the time when Dio was awake. We also observed that Danny had a strong connection and was very responsible in connection to the care of Dio. And the conclusion goes like this. The conclusion of this psychological report is that the development of Dio, which is the son, is not threatened on short term, and concerning Danny, it shows that he, despite his difficulties, is has the capacity to be the primary person to take care of Dio. Now, this is a psychological report that was made when you had Dio, right?
Yeah, it was made up by the council, the kommune, it's called in Danish.
Let me ask you, Danny, how did you make it? I mean, you've had this really rough childhood, but at the time when you had Dio, you were actually a responsible parent. How did you go from having this rough childhood to actually being a responsible parent? What did you do?
I have been working a lot with myself. You know, I had to go in and see all my traumas in life, and I've been doing yoga for 3 years. Very, very heavy breathing techniques to realize where everything broke up. And what I found was actually it broke up when I was like 5.
But I mean, so to understand, right? You've been through a long psychological yoga process yourself.
Yes.
Healing yourself.
Yes.
Making yourself a more responsible and stable person. Isn't that right?
Yes, and awake, I see things very much clearly, and I know we are humans. We are made of feelings, and here in those papers, it's like, it's not okay, Danny, feel something.
So I mean, my point is that you have actually tried yourself, from your own motivation, from your own, will force, to actually heal and be a good person, and you actually made it, and you had your son, and it was working, and the son was happy. You can see in the paper the son is happy and vibes and everything.
Everything's perfect.
So coming from that background of really, really difficult upbringing, actually making it, and then not really getting that credit from the system, how does that feel?
It's crazy. I feel the opposite. I feel like I'm getting trashed. I'm like, I don't really get it.
Okay, let's see, because then this process goes through a long row of steps, right? Through what's something called børne- og ungeudvalg, which is locally in the council, and it ends up in the Ankestyrelsen. Your case, right? Yes. And actually, you had a pretty good. You actually had a good development with the børne- og ungeudvalg, which was the council. But then the Ankestyrelsen, they really stepped down and decided that you cannot see Dio, right? And let's hear what they're actually arguing. So they say this is the reason why there is not any cooperation. You're not allowed to see your son, and they say, what's deciding? We still underline and make it think it's important that there's no positive development between Dio and Danny in a long period. Danny is very preoccupied with his fight against the system, and he's not able to put his anger to the side, right?
Yeah.
So this is the argument.
I'm just speaking the truth.
Yeah, but I mean, how can you? It's just that. How can that be the argument? I mean, usually the argument would be that you're not able to see your son and you're not able to care for him. But that's not the argument. The argument is that you are a system critic.
Yes, and yeah, it's not legal. Let's say it like that. If we should follow the law, it's not legal.
It's a pretty strange argument, I'd say. Anyway, so the next, and it goes on. So that's another really, really crazy thing about this. We also think it's important that Danny is going over the boundaries of Dio by kissing him and hugging him, even though Dio doesn't want you to hug him. It's a great crime, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't see so much.
I'm a criminal because I love my boy.
So you want to hug him, right?
Yeah.
And he's not really into it, and then that's a really good argument against you. Let's just round up with the story with you. Then you had the problems with the police who.
The police is very aggressive. They keep me for 6 hours with my boy sleeping on my here, and I try to talk to them and say, "Can you see he is in good hands? He is sleeping on my chest." But they were surrounding me and telling me if I didn't hand out my boy now, they will jump me and beat me with my boy on my stomach. See, I don't even think it's going on in the third world. I don't even think it comes in war. You know, it's crazy. This is Denmark.
Something's rotten in the state of Denmark.
Yes.
Let's get back to the because I think it's really important that I get your story and you get it out. But I think also very important that we discuss this whole this whole issue with the Ankestyrelsen. Because I mean the next step from Ankestyrelsen is the Human Rights Council.
Yes.
And there's something. I mean it's pretty obvious that the whole base that they're condemning you is quite weak, right? And
it's
why?
Stupid.
It's even stupid.
It's stupid. Who can you say? Okay, you cannot see your boy because you love him and kiss him. What? That's stupid. Am I supposed to beat my boy or what? Because I don't go to that terms.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, human rights is about seeing each human as something unique and beautiful, unique. And this is human rights. It's the idea of human rights. And I mean, it's just that if you see it from that perspective of the Human Rights Council, you have something that is so precious, your own child, right?
Yeah.
And then they take this child away from you. Now you're not allowed to see him at all, very little.
No, I don't see him at all. I've not seen him for almost 2 years.
2 years, sorry. And the arguments are so weak, right? Yeah. I mean, and that's why it's an interesting case for the Human Rights Council, because if you see that human rights are seeing each person as something unique and beautiful, and we're supposed to take care of.
And we have the right to family.
And we have the right to family. And then
what is this?
Yeah. And then they actually, this.
And what about my boy? He also has the right to family. It's not just, sorry for the mic, it's not just about me. This is about my boy and my daughter and your daughter and the next children. I want my boy back. Of course I want my boy back, because now he's the next victim. You know, when he gets a big boy, they say to him, "Oh, you got a very rough childhood. You got a foster parents in 1 year's birthday."
But Danny,
what is going on here? Is it a business or what?
I like to be just a little critical against it, right? Just right? I mean, because they say that you are very system critical, right? And you are. You can see it here, right?
Yeah, but
this question is just. Just be a little critical against it. Isn't it also important for a parent to be responsible, and also, I mean, all the system critical thing, couldn't it be just a little against your own case? I mean,
I think I would be a very bad daddy if I didn't do this. If I don't speak the truth about what is going on here, I would be a very, very horrible person, because this is the children.
I mean, the system, they see this.
Okay, they want me to sit down and do as they tell me. Okay, I did that with my daughter. Have you no clue why I was... Nobody has no clue here. That left me in a position where my daughter is hating me today and think...
So you tried it, actually?
I have tried it.
Okay, Danny, I like to continue a little with the whole discussion, because obviously this is a very nasty case, poisonous.
This is very nasty.
I get it. And you have this little radio clip that I'm going to show here.
Yeah.
So come here.